Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I can promise you that this is about to get really fun and exciting. With John Deaton running for against Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler are the anti-crypto army. And so the idea that we can now help John Deaton try to take her out of office, she is a straight liar, it's a complete hypocrite. She's become worth, my understanding is upwards of $70 million in office, with like $100,000 salary, coming from being a Harvard professor. You see what's going on here? If anybody can replace the old hag, it's going to be the real crypto army out here, because I think that this is going to galvanize not just the XRP people, but the people across crypto, and I'll show you why. I'll show you how that it's already happening. I for one, and I encourage everybody, put johndeatonforsenate.com in your profile, and I pinned this tweet so that people can easily go there and donate. I donated myself this morning, and so I got the ball rolling. It's johndeatonforsenate.com. And he's got his video, he's got all his platform and all the different stuff up there. Now, Elizabeth Warren is obviously getting a little nervous. Apparently the MAGA Republican machine couldn't find a single Republican in Massachusetts to run against me. So they brought in someone from Rhode Island who will have the backing of the GOP and special interest groups. Well, here's the problem, Senator Warren. I've known John for a long time now. John Deaton has never been I've never heard him say anything except things bad about Trump, like he didn't like him. This is not a MAGA candidate. That's a little bit of a problem for you, Senator Warren. In fact, you just flat out lied about it. So that's a good start to running against John, is you going ahead and lying and letting people know that you don't tell the truth. John Deaton weighed in on this. Senator, no one recruited me, and I'm looking forward to a substantive discussion on the issues that are important to good people of Massachusetts, like income equality, inflation, housing costs, the illegal immigration, the debt crisis, and veterans services. Then I was making you aware, I just donated to John Deaton. This is money from the real crypto army and doesn't go from FTX to Ukraine and back to you and your friends, Senator Warren. And remember, her best buddy is Gary Gensler. So, and then here's the guys. These are guys that are coming in hot. Not XRP community members. You're about to see a real army.
John Deaton, the Ripple hero, crypto hero, American hero, is running for Senate against Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts. Do I think he has a chance? Sure, why not? Is it a long shot? Sure, of course it is. He's going against the most established member of the machine in existence, but she's also crypto's final boss. Take out Elizabeth Warren, take out the anti-crypto army, take out the influence on the White House and the SEC that has been attempting to crush this industry for the past few years.
Then you had Anthony Scaramucci. He says John Deaton is now the tip of the spear in the fight to keep the United States the world's leader in financial services. We have to help him, and we will. So you're seeing the real army rise right now. Oh, I love it when Michael Saylor talks. Here he goes again.
Last I checked, you have just under 200,000 Bitcoin. You take a look at the new spot Bitcoin ETFs. All told, they own over 700,000. Of course, a lot of that is the Grayscale Trust, but a lot of that, too, 200,000 or so, is from the 9 new ETFs on the market. With this new competition, is it going to become harder to source new Bitcoin for MicroStrategy to buy?
Well, I think it's a very virtuous cycle. The spot ETFs have opened up a gateway for institutional capital to flow into the Bitcoin ecosystem. The demand for the spot ETFs, especially the new ones, net, has been far in excess of the supply from the miners every day. In some cases, up to 8 to 10 times as much demand as supply every day. This is a rising tide that's going to lift all boats. MicroStrategy has got a levered operating strategy for Bitcoin. But if you look at what these spot ETFs are doing, they're facilitating the digital transformation of capital. And every day, hundreds of millions of dollars of capital is flowing from the traditional analog ecosystem into the digital economy.
And to your point, I mean, actually, Gemini co-founder Cameron Winklevoss, he tweeted last week that the demand from the new Bitcoin ETFs, it's at least 10 times as much as the number of new tokens that are actually being minted by those miners. So really interesting supply-demand dynamics going on there. But let's talk about your existing holdings. As I mentioned in the intro, now worth around $10 billion. You have paper gains of about 70% or so, which a lot of people would like to see that sort of return. At any point, would you sell? When would it make sense to take profits there?
Well, I've famously said I'm going to be buying the top forever. Bitcoin is the exit strategy. It is the strongest asset. So what we see right now is the Bitcoin has just emerged as a $1 trillion asset class. And it's alongside names like Apple and Google and Microsoft. But the difference between Bitcoin and the Magnificent Seven is Bitcoin's an asset class. It's not a company. There's not enough room in the capital structure of those companies to hold $10 trillion or $100 trillion worth of capital. So Bitcoin's competing against gold, which is 10x what it is right now. It's competing against the S&P index. It's competing against real estate, $100 trillion plus asset class as a store of value.
Those aren't his worst nightmares. There's a reason they won't ever talk about XRP. Guess what? Bitcoin's about to have to compete against XRP is what I'm feeling here.
We believe capital is going to keep flowing.
And I think that part of the whole point of the Ethereum Bitcoin free pass was the fear of having to compete with XRP.
Those asset classes into Bitcoin because Bitcoin is technically superior to those asset classes.
Because XRP is technically superior to Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Now, that being the case, there's just no reason to sell the winner to buy.
Now, check this out. Brad Garlinghouse yesterday, he's on Bloomberg talking XRP ETFs.
So you would welcome an XRP ETF then?
We would certainly welcome it, and I think it's inevitable that there'll be, multiple ETFs around different tokens. And I think you'll even see ETFs potentially around baskets that also, I think, further diversify that risk.
Given there's so much excitement around the ETF dynamic here, are you in talks with the largest issuers, particularly BlackRock, to get this done?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I know BlackRock has said some things publicly. We think it makes sense for the XRP community overall. Ripple obviously is a very important stakeholder in the XRP ecosystem, but we're not the only player. And look, we've seen, before the SEC lawsuit, XRP was the second most valuable digital asset.
True story.
I think because of the headwinds of that lawsuit, we've now seen that largely abate. But the long-term view on these things is about, how do you create utility and really solve real-world problems with these different digital assets? Bitcoin's doing that very well as a store of value. XRP and its dynamics around being very fast, very efficient, and low cost on a per transaction basis makes it ideal for payments. And that's where Ripple really has leaned into as a company.
All right. I like the sound of that. I think that's pretty obvious what's coming.
As you probably know, Ripple, Andreessen Horowitz, and Coinbase put together a super PAC, and we've each put $25 million behind it to support candidates that are pro-crypto and pro-constructive regulation and engagement, really being pro-innovation but protecting consumers at the same time. I think that for a lot of politicians, crypto has become a soundbite where they don't really understand how crypto works, and they say things that actually don't even back up with facts. So, I do think it's a campaign issue. Ripple has leaned into that. I personally, my donations are bipartisan, but certainly pro-crypto, and that'll continue to be the case. I'll even highlight just today, John Deaton, a very prominent pro-crypto guy announced he's running against Elizabeth Warren. So I think you're going to continue to see that. Correct.
So with that said, also we know that Elizabeth Warren is trying to make the crypto industries a regulation around AML laws and KYC laws more akin to that of banking. Is this something a lot of the crypto industry has been very upset about? Is this something you're actively fighting?
Oh, no. On the contrary. I mean, I would actually argue that Elizabeth Warren has it wrong. I mean, if you sign up on Coinbase, you have to get KYC, know your customer. You have to go through a verification process of providing your licenses, and they do that verification. And as I said before, the vast, vast, vast majority of people who are in the crypto industry are good actors who want to play by the rules. We need to know what those rules are sometimes. But the KYC and AML are not rules that are confusing, and I find that the vast majority of the industry players are already leaning into that. I think Elizabeth Warren wants us to believe that those are things that somehow crypto is circumventing, but that's not the real world.
I love it. If you want to see the whole video, you can go 801XRP, 801_XRP, put the whole video up. Now, in DAIXRP.com, here's what we're going to talk. I'm going to show you a couple more things why I'm so bullish on XRP, an ETF, and I just feel like the Ripple. My gut's always told me that this Ripple IPO has to happen sooner rather than later. Not too late, but the pressure from investors has to be pretty great to go IPO. I'm going to show you some of that, what I think about that. I'm a digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. I'm going to show you why I'm so bullish. Here we go.